Hello everybody and welcome back to another video series here today. My name is Oren. Today we're going to run through a deck that is called Patriot Aggro. Before we get into it, for those of you that have watched my channel, you'll notice that there's a few changes to the layout. I don't quite know where it is, but it should be right under me. You'll see a deck list. Let me know what you think of that, if that's useful, if that's helpful. And also, my face screen is not over the game anymore, right? So it's going to be on its separate section here, and the game will be, over to the left or whatever. So hopefully that will help, and it won't cover up my hand. My face won't cover up my hand in any weird situations, and it'll overall improve the quality of my channel. But of course, I need your feedback. Let me know if what you see looks good. If not, I'll keep tinkering. Again, this is something I'm doing on my own. I don't have much experience with any of this really, so there's going to be a lot of trial and error. So let me know your feedback. Does it look good? Does it look bad? And then I'll work from there, and we'll try to keep improving as we go. And as always, again, I'm very open to constructive criticism. So please in the comments, if there's something that you don't like that you see, let me know. I want to improve. I'm really looking forward to improving, so I can have all of you watching enjoy the content as much as possible. With that said, let's get to the deck we have in front of us. So today we're going to do an Under the Microscope series. So what Under the Microscope means is that we take a deck that was played, maybe isn't played as much now, and we run it through 3 matches of single queue competitive lobbies, right? So it's a deck that's maybe not quite at the, competitive or highly competitive level, like maybe not even tier 2, so more like think developing competitive. It's kind of it's on its way there, but maybe it's not there yet, right? And in this case, with Patriot Aggro, the deck you see in front of us, it was actually a deck that was close to getting there, but was hit with a ban of Gitaxian Probe, which kind of set it back a little bit. But anyways, let's get right into the deck. So the deck is called Patriot Aggro. The reason it's called Patriot Aggro is because it's blue, white, red, aggressive deck. That is just, kind of the name of the deck. I didn't make it up, so don't, come at me if you don't like the name. But that's the name of the deck. And essentially, it's just a Jeskai aggro deck, right? So very low land count, right? 19 lands, a lot of haste threats, okay? So let's first go over the creature base, right? We have Monastery Swiftspear. Very aggressive, 1 mana, red. It's a 1/2 haste, gets in for some easy points of damage. Same thing with Goblin Guide. If you've ever seen Burn deck in action, you'll know that these 2 creatures are one of Burn's, best ways to get in damage. Goblin Guide is no exception. So just because we're not a dedicated Burn deck doesn't mean Goblin Guide can't get in those few points of damage that really help us go over the top. Then we have Stormchaser Mage, right? This is a card that's less often played, and it's one of the reasons to be in blue, right? It's flying, so it's evasive, it's haste, and also has prowess. So we have a lot of cheap spells to trigger it, and then we can get in for 2-3 damage in the air over a few turns. That can add up. Then, of course, Mantis Rider. Flying, Vigilance, Haste. Now, it's the most expensive of the creatures that I've mentioned so far, but you don't have to really do any work to get it to be good, right? It's got Flying, Vigilance, and Haste right off the bat. Swings in for 3. If your opponent doesn't answer it right off the bat, it's a Lightning Bolt that maybe trades for a spell, So, overall, Mantis Rider is really quite powerful. And then, to round out the deck, what we have is a set of really, really cheap instants and sorceries that help, the deck kind of get off the ground, right? So we have 4 Serum Visions because the card is fantastic at fixing, but we also have 3 Opt because sometimes you don't, get the fast aggressive starts you need, so you play the more slower, burny, grindy control game, And so that's what Opt is used for. It's also useful for just enabling prowess, getting aggressive. Again, it's kind of a replacement for Gitaxian Probe, but it's not necessarily, it obviously cannot replace it, right? But it tries to. And then we have 2 Vapor Snag because it's an aggressive way to keep creatures off the board, make your opponent lose life. It also protects your creatures, right? So it's really useful in the sense that you can bounce your Snapcaster Mages, your Mantis Riders, and because your creatures have haste, they can just come back in that next turn and then get in for damage. And then, of course, we have Lightning Bolt's the premier, both burn and removal spell in Modern. And then, what is really cool, we have Mutagenic Growth, right? Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, but you can pay Phyrexian mana. That means you can have some really aggressive starts. You can also save your creatures from burn spells, and just get in for loads of damage really quickly, fill up the yard. What's nice is that with Snapcaster Mage, again, a big reason to be in blue, I haven't covered Snapcaster Mage so far, but it's a great way to recur some of these really cheap spells, right? So for 2 mana, you can just go Snap, Mutagenic Growth, right? You can still pay Phyrexian mana from the graveyard, which is really, really nice. So that's one of the big reasons Snapcaster Mage is in here. And let's not forget Lightning Helix, premier, burn spell, goes straight to the face, and is really helpful in racing, And our mana base does not really hurt us all that much. So that life gain is actually not just to like offset fetching and shocking, but it's also there to just get ahead, in terms of racing of life totals. And then, this is a spicy inclusion I added. So a lot of the lists didn't run this, but I like Bedlam Reveral a lot here. We tend to fill up the yard, I would say, pretty quickly, and it's just a nice way to reload, once you've burned your 1-drops and your 2-drops and your burn spells, etc., etc. That's going to be the main deck for you. Hopefully that covers it pretty well. Now let's get into the sideboard. So for the sideboard, I suspected Lingering Souls might be kind of a problem for this deck, so I included one is its Staticaster. I like having answers to artifacts here. So Wear Tear, also hits Blood Moon artifact. Celestial Purge does the same job, but also hits threats from Shadow decks, right? So that's what I really like about Celestial Purge. We have 3 Path to Exile because, again, Shadow is one of those decks that will brick wall you, and there's also a lot of decks that you just want to remove the creatures instead of maybe just bouncing them. So Path to Exile does a lot of work there. Dispel protects you both against like more aggressive mirrors that rely on burn spells, but also against control decks, some combo decks, and it lets you just get in those extra few points of damage that maybe you didn't have time for. The Flexi Palm is quite sweet, can get a lot of people, and I believe it doesn't target, right? So you just a source of your choice, right? So things with protection, like Emrakul, that gets around that, which is what I really like about Deflecting Palm. Now, by the time an Emrakul comes down, like let's say from Through the Breach, hopefully you will have already dealt them at least 5 points of damage. So it doesn't matter if you sacrifice 6 permanents, because then they will just hopefully die on the spot. And then 2 Molten Rain, because Tron, Valka, decks like that, sometimes we don't run those cheap counter spells that can get those tempo plays. So instead we set up a board and then start blowing up lands, and hopefully that will get us there, right? And I think Affinity is one of those decks that, yes, while we have removal, it's going to be very, very difficult to interact with, especially if they get set up before you can deploy your removal spells. So I think Stony Silence for this build is really important, so I would not leave home without at least 2 of those. I opted for 3 because Affinity is a very popular deck, and I just want to be prepared for that matchup. But that's going to be the overall summary of Patriot Aggro. I'm still a little sick. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I'll do my best. I know I probably don't sound the best, but I'm going to do my best to play for you guys, and hopefully we can get some good magic going here. So thanks so much for watching this deck tip, and stay tuned for the first match coming up really soon. Hey guys, welcome to the first match here with Patriot Aggro. Looks like we have kind of yeah, this is this is kind of what you worry about when you play like 19 lands, but yeah, that's a mulligan. Yeah, hopefully we find another land on top. Bolt. I think I'm gonna have to put that to the bottom. So of course Bolt could be really nice against certain decks, especially nice against turn 1 Forest, but looks like this might be that new mono green Devotion deck. Ooh, Goblin Guide. I think I'll lead off Goblin Guide. Okay, so we might be on the back of our creatures here. Doubling Season. Okay, looks like this is against mono green Doubling Season, maybe? Wood Elves. Sure. That's actually really good for them, huh? They've got quite a good start here. Question is, what are they Doubling Season into? Doubling Season makes tokens, right? Oh, there's another land. So the question is, do we want to start flying over? I think so. I think it's time to just get these Stormchaser mages out of our hands. Again, if they want, I wonder if they want to trade. All right, it looks like we finally gave them some value with Goblin Guide. I wonder if they want to trade, and I wonder if I'm okay with that. I think so. Now I'm gonna save this Mutagenic Growth to get in maybe more prowess damage next turn. Because if we draw another red source, then we can go Swift Spear plus Stormchaser. Wow, okay, our opponent's going off here. I wonder if we have to take out that Garrick before things get out of hand. Nice, another red source. So here we can get a Sacred Foundry. Let's go ahead and play out Swift Spear, Stormchaser, and I like sending the Stormchasers at Garrick, and then Swift Spear my opponent, and then getting aggressive here. Got a lot of prowess triggers. So Garrick down, our opponent's at 13, and we have a little bit of gas in our hand, right? Snapcaster Mage is kind of gas. Alright, our opponent's got down their doubling season. Vapor Snag, interesting. Could Vapor Snag our own Snapcaster Mage for prowess triggers? So let's think here, right? We can go Snapcaster Mage, Mutagenic Growth, which is 2 points. That gives all of them prowess for an extra 3, so that's 5 damage. Plus the 3 that's already on board, that's 8 damage. Vapor Snag is 2 off. Right. Let's make sure I'm not missing the math here. So, Mutagenic Growth is a single. It's a single power trigger for each of them, so that turns them into 2 power creatures. One of them becomes a 4 power creature, so that's 8 damage. Then Vapor Snag on one of my, like, say, Snapcaster Mage would be another 2 points, another 3 points, which would make it 11, which would put them down to 2. I think that's worth it. I don't think, and then that puts them dead to like a burn spell. Let's just always yield to these prowess triggers here. And let's go ahead and bounce Snapcaster Mage back to our hand. That ensures we do have a prowess trigger for next turn as well. The question is, can our opponent win this turn? We're kind of putting our opponent in the spot, okay, can you kill us? And looks like they can't. But I guess that's what doubling season does, right? So let's think of this less as a doubling season and more as like kind of a ramp deck too. So we did see some X1s. The question is, do we want to get, is it Staticaster in here? There's also the option of bringing in Molten Rains. They do rely on Utopia Sprawl, but that is a bit slow. I don't think we want Path to Exile. I think this is not the matchup for that. So if anything, I think we're considering these 4 cards. While we consider that, let's first think, are there any cards we don't want from our main deck in this matchup? It's tough, right? So I think we kind of want to trim around the edges if we want to. So is it Staticaster is just okay? I don't know if I want to bring it in, although it does get rid of blockers, and getting rid of blockers is important. And they could also have a lot of tokens, like from like what is it? Hornet Queen. So that's something to consider. Wear Tear gets rid of doubling season as well as Utopia Sprawl, so I kind of like that. I think Molten Rain is a bit aggressive. So we have 2 cards we want to bring in. What do we want to cut? I don't think we want to cut any of our flyers, but we could trim like an Opt. And let's trim a little bit around the edges. I think it might be a Goblin Guide. Yeah, I like this. My server is out of date. Yeah, Magic Online's been having kind of like a bad week. Okay, no creatures, but we do have some burn spells, so I think that's a keep. And obviously just a creature off the top would be nuts here. Land, probably the worst draw. Let's just go ahead and play Spire Bluff Canal here and pass. But thankfully our mana base doesn't hurt us, right? So here, do we want to save Lightning Bolt, or do we want to be mana efficient? I think we just want to go ahead and point Bolt upstairs. Opt. I kind of like opting on my main phase here to see if I find a threat. I don't think we need another Vapor Snag. Well, that's a shame. So this could be one of those draws where things just don't go according to plan. Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, huh? Ouch. Okay, that might have been a reason to save our burn, but looks like Goblin Guide might do a good job here trying to at least pressure her. We could clear her right now, but I don't think there's any reason to freak out. Utopia Sprawl, sure. I imagine they're blocking. Yep. Because I think we can still clear her next turn. Utopia Sprawl, sure. Land. Yeah, so this is the mono green devotion deck, right? It's just playing a bit differently with some interesting conclusions. Let's go ahead and Vapor Snag away that token. Still deals them 1 life. Wow, Snapcaster Mage is quite a decent draw here, right? The question is, do we want to... Actually, I think it's pretty clear we want to use our Lightning Helix. So... Let's go ahead and attack Nissa. Reveal another Nissa. Alright. Let's go ahead and just upkeep that Lightning Helix. I don't think there's any reason to do it main phase. 5, like a Thragtusk. Yeah, I don't know how this deck deals with a Thragtusk, right? We just kind of have to grind through it and hope we find some threats in the air. So we can get a Hollowed Fountain here. I mean, just gotta pummel through here. Garruk Primal Hunter. Oh, jeez. I wonder if this deck wants remands, or if I'm just saying that because remand seems good here. But like Snapcaster Mage can clear Garruk, I believe. Yeah. Sure. I wonder if they keep back any blockers. Alright, great. Alright, Snapcaster Mage. We can go... I think I'd rather Vapor Snag the Beast. We're using obviously a lot of resources here to kill their planeswalkers. That could be incorrect, but I don't think we're winning the burn game necessarily. Although maybe we could have at this point. We've drawn a lot of burn spells if we just gone to our opponent's face, but so we know they have a Nissa. The question is, do they want to play it? So we definitely need our evasive threats here. This is kind of the matchup where we need our flyers. We need Mantis Rider. Wow, is it just like another Titan? Oh god. Yeah. I think that's going to be the final nail in the coffin here. We're not racing a prime time, that's for sure. So the thing is, we just had too slow of a start and we couldn't punish our opponent. I mean, there's a Mantis Rider, but yeah, let's just play it. Maybe we can get there. Maybe we see more of it out of our opponent's deck here. Yeah, maybe my whole game plan should have just been go upstairs, ignore what my opponent is doing. But then I feel just like we're a worse burn deck. Just another Garrett. God. They're going to cash it in probably. Yep. Those plant tokens don't have reach, do they? No. Our opponent is going off. I mean, this is the definition of going off here. They'll untap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they go back up to 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So, I mean, they're just ramping. But again, I'm just kind of playing this out to see if maybe they reveal more to our deck. We're pretty dead here, right? We don't have any card in our deck that gets us back. We're very tempo based. But seeing this Arbor Elf makes me happier that I brought in Is It Staticaster. And I assume they had Arbor Elf because of that Utopia Sprawl. Because like I don't bring Is It Staticaster in just for Wood Elves and, you know, things like that. Alright, you know, I'm just gonna concede. We're not winning this game. Like Bedlam Reveler doesn't do anything for us here. Let's just take it to game 2. I wonder if Molten Rain is actually okay. Can't be, can it? On the play, I think we want Goblin Guide more. And I think we cut maybe one Mutagenic, although that's what steals our wins, right? Mutagenic just is like a free lightning bolt sometimes. Snap is a body plus a replay. This hits Utopia Sprawl. I think that's a keeper. Maybe cut one Snag. Yeah, Snag doesn't seem too great against my opponent's deck here. Okay, yes, we would love to play first. See, that's the issue with Bedlam Reveler, right? I do think we still keep it because any land off the top, any spell off the top is pretty insane. But we're not very interactive, which is the issue, and we're also not very aggressive, which is the issue. So that could be an argument to mulligan this hand. Hopefully our opponent does not have a 1-drop, but they did keep a 7, so it's hard to imagine they don't have a 1-drop. Sure. Man, where were you last turn? Should have been on the draw. Okay, so if we can hit land, we can ping this Arbor Elf, and hopefully things don't get out of control this turn. Hopefully they don't have like Utopia Sprawl into crazy stuff. Skirt Tribelder. Sure. That is not going to do it for us here. Hitting for 2 in the air is just too slow. Yep. Alright, so our opponent's going to have potentially 5 mana next turn, and this is kind of the stage in the game where we really need to capitalize, which is why maybe we should have sided out this Bedlam Reveler. Mana. Garrick, okay. So it looks like they're still playing something else. Eternal Witness, okay. I don't know if I should be afraid that they're Eternal Witnessing back lands. Interesting. So we could actually clear Garrick here. I think I'm going to do that. Sweet. Okay, so probably want to go top. We're also faced with the option of just going face. I wonder how reasonable that might be. we could just send 2 at Garrick, and then 2 at my opponent. So this clears Garrick. Still affects our opponent's life total. And we're drawing a Bolt next turn, which could be a lot of damage, right? We have Bolt plus Helix in hand. Interesting. Another Garrick. Okay. Wonder if they just make a beast here, or maybe they untap Field of Ruin. If we had gone face last turn, they would be at 13 at least. They might have blocked with the Eternal Witness. Right, they didn't Field of Ruin us, which is, I think, very good for us. Question next turn here, do we want to go... Interesting. Attack there. So they go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana next turn, and I think that's kind of scary. But if we go face, that's 3, 3, 3, 3. We could put him to 3. We could also just wait a turn. Kind of like waiting a turn, because we can do all of that next turn as well. So let's make sure we're solid on red sources. And I just hope that our opponent can't kill us next turn. And I wonder if we send Swift Spear my opponent. Oh, if they go Garrick +3/+3, it's 4, 5. It's another 4, that's 13. That still doesn't kill us. But maybe we should send 1 at Garrick, because then our opponent's still dead next turn. And we'll hold back Swift Spear to block. So we've set up for lethal. Question is, did we make a mistake, right? Should we have just cleared that Garrick off this right off the spot, right? Because that's going to be 1, 5, 6, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana for my opponent. If they have like Tooth and Nail, like, you know, Garrick doesn't do it, right? We're not worried about Garrick. We were worried about like Tooth and Nail into into like Craterhoof. That would be the worst. Okay, draw 3, but we should have lethal set up here, right? So let's make sure, because we have a beast, and they're mostly a tap out deck, so they might have like Dismember here, but that's still 4 damage to them, so I'm not too afraid of Dismember. And we should have lethal at this point for sure. Alright, let's go with Helix first. Always yield, always yield. Let's make sure we don't redirect. No. So that's 7. And make sure we don't redirect. No. And that should be lethal in the air, right? So we just had to dodge 1 big spell for 1 turn, and we got there. Anyways, that was the first match with Patriot Aggro. Kind of shaky first match, right? It was a little scary losing to Mono Green Devotion in the first round. Almost losing. We won. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the second match for this Under the Microscope series coming up in just a few moments. I'll see you guys soon.